Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at ServiceNow. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have been tracking the idea of a possible major top to be in place in this blue scenario where we have this marked as a wave 1. Then we would expect a wave 2 correction to unfold in a 3-wave pattern, and we are tracking this initial wave 1 as an impulse, and we have the area of support between the $52.6 all the way down to the $10.6 to track continuation to higher prices. And you may be thinking, well, if we have the wave 1 as an impulse, why are we tracking also this white interpretation? This is also an impulse we are tracking in this area in a 5-wave move to the upside. Well, within the white scenario, we have been tracking this idea of a possible extension higher within this 5th wave, because while it is possible, we have the sufficient waves, we have the full count for this pattern to be tracked as complete. We are also able to track extensions. We were tracking extensions within actually a couple of interpretations in the previous video, and here was the orange scenario, which was allowing another move to the upside, an ABC structure, to complete this as an ending diagonal within the 5th wave. Now, since we didn't manage to follow through, we broke the last level of support. Even though we would still be holding at the moment the area of support for a correction in a wave 4, I wouldn't be even considering this scenario anymore, because within this structure, we don't really have appropriate proportions to track this as a wave 4, as part of an extension that could still take us higher within a 5th wave. It's just not a likely interpretation to me. And while I am still able to track extensions higher because we were tracking it within a couple of scenarios, it doesn't really apply, in my opinion, within this orange interpretation. And it's a bit unfortunate because within this structure, we had an initial potential 5-wave move to the upside in this wave A, but yeah, we didn't manage to hold the area of support. We did get an attempt here, but in the end, ultimately it failed, and the yellow interpretation managed to win. And it's not necessarily a surprise, especially because in a larger time frame perspective, only the next larger time frame perspective, we had also a potential 5-wave move to the downside. This was suggesting that after a 3-wave correction into the area of resistance, we should be prepared for at least another 5-wave move to the downside. And while it doesn't mean that it was impossible for the orange scenario to manage to get through, it was a bit stronger. It was a bit difficult for it to win over the battle. Now, of course, we can even go ahead and remove this orange interpretation. Doesn't really work on our chart anymore. And we are tracking only this idea in green for possible extensions higher, which right now, we can actually even track it in the white scenario, because previously we had 2 interpretations for higher extensions. Right now, we only have one, this idea of a wave 1 being complete within the 5th wave, or again, within this wave to the upside. It could be the 5th wave. It is possible we don't need any extensions higher, but at the same time, the 5th wave could have only formed an initial wave 1 to the upside. We could be tracking a correction in a wave 2, and for this, we have the area of support between the $147.6 all the way down to the $88.5 level for continuation within a wave 3. A break below the $88.5, the last level of support, is a strong signal to me that this structure should be heavily expected to head into the wave 2 area of support for the blue interpretation. Yeah, it's the earliest signal I can provide you for confirmation, or not even confirmation, but for a heavy probability shift that this structure to the upside is not going to manage to extend. For a confirmation, complete invalidation, we would need a break below the beginning of this movement to the upside of this last wave, and for, let's say, a confirmation, we would need an initial 5-wave move to the downside. That could also work out for a very strong signal, but I believe if we were to build within this area a 5-wave move to the downside, we would also very likely break the area of support, and there would be signals all over telling us that this structure is very, very likely going to fail. Now, within this structure to the downside, we are still focusing in or on this yellow interpretation, because within this wave C, we can track even for the extensions. Within this wave C, we can track even a potential impulse that could still technically work out within this area as a double 1-2-1-2 setup, and possibly even another 1-2 setup here. And then we could track this as another 1-2-1-2, third wave down that would be expected still to extend higher. And in such a case, I have to say, this might work out better within a third wave. If we are to build this entire impulse to the downside I believe we should be prepared for it to be in fact a wave 3. We would be tracking, of course, wave 4 area of resistance. And if we manage to follow through in a 5th wave, we would have a strong indication that after a 3-wave correction, we should expect even further continuation within at least another 5-wave move to the downside. But at the moment, we are still decently far away from such a case. And I am even able to track this also as an ending diagonal within the wave C, in which case we might form an early bottom. Now, ideally, we form here this entire 5-wave structure to the downside, however, because yeah, it's a wave C. And in the ultimate level of resistance for this area to tell us it's not going to manage to extend any lower, well, we would have to assume the wave 3 is complete, which is a very unlikely interpretation. I would be watching here the $163.7 level. But to be honest, I won't be leaving this on the chart. This is more of a large view area of resistance. But right now we have so many levels to watch on a smaller time frame that I wouldn't necessarily be focusing on this. I would instead heavily focus on the internal structure within this movement to the downside. And I won't go either within all the interpretations that could work out within this structure. I will follow within the most likely scenario. And for this, I would like to focus specifically on this wave to the downside. Within this area, I am able at the moment to consider it to be a 1-2 setup and even another 1-2, 1-2, another 1-2 here, and this would be the 3rd wave down. If we manage to still follow through within this idea of an impulse, I will continue to track these areas of resistance. For this, I would be watching the levels for a wave 4 correction, and let's track this in yellow actually, between the $128.5 all the way up to the $134 level. Remember, this is for the idea of 1, 2, 3, 4th, and the 5th. This is assuming that the wave 3 has bottomed internally in this structure, and I do have to say it is certainly a possibility. And in that case, yeah, we would be watching for the larger retracement. But if we extend lower in a direct fashion, I would be considering this to be still an extension of the wave 3, for rather a confirmation that the wave 4 has started and that we are forming the wave 4, or that we have formed the wave 4. I would highly expect to at least reach the first level within the area of support. I would expect it to very, very likely form it within a 3-wave move into this area to the upside, yeah? Now, if this is to be broken, we could still track continuation lower within something like an ending diagonal. Yeah, this could be a diagonal structure. It would imply that the entire pattern is a diagonal pattern, however, and this would be instead a 1, 2, 3, 4th, and a 5th. We would be able to track slightly higher resistance levels in that case, and this is the last level I'm going to provide you because, again, we can track levels of resistance on and on within this structure before we actually have a reliable bottom in place, before we have a strong signal that this structure is not going to extend lower. Remember, I provided you even higher level resistance, and even that one is not the ultimate necessarily, the ultimate indication that we have bottomed. But for this idea, we could track here the levels up to the $140.7. If we manage to break even above this, it's a good indication that this structure would not be expected to extend any lower, and that we should consider a more significant bottom to be in place, but only within this time frame, yeah, within the time frame of this wave to the downside. And for now, really there isn't much else to add. There is still so much bearishness going on. I'm still looking for further continuation lower until we get some signals that a bottom is in place, and those signals would be breaking levels of resistance, which doesn't seem to be of interest for now. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video.